Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Part 7. First year on the island. One of my dreams was really crazy. I was in a pub which was on my island. I wanted to drink some rum, but the waitress was extremely lazy. She sat at the bar and she did nothing. I didn't like her attitude. I was angry, but I waited. Then my wife came to the pub. She gave me a piece of paper with some text. It was a message from her father. He wrote,
"Come home. You should work on the plantations."
But I didn't want to go home. I went to the kitchen in the pub. There was my mother in the kitchen, who was preparing some steaks, and she was also cooking soup. I tasted the soup, which was fantastic. Then 2 Englishmen came to the pub. They wanted to sell me gunpowder. One man looked like a gentleman, but the second man was horrible. I told the horrible man,
"I'm sorry. I don't need your gunpowder. I have a lot of gunpowder in my camp."
"What do you say?"
said the horrible man.
"Our gunpowder isn't good for you. This is the main reason why we are here. We've traveled from London. You have to buy our gunpowder."
I said,
"Thank you. I don't want your gunpowder."
the man was really angry. Our conversation was getting worse and worse. He said some horrible things about me. I said some horrible things about him. The conversation got to a point where he wanted to kill me. When he took his gun, I started to run away. He shot at me. At that moment, I woke up. 1 week later, I felt better, but I still needed to relax. I needed to sleep a lot. In August, I was okay again. I still felt a little weak though. I knew I needed to do some physical exercise. The next 10 days, I walked around the island. This exercise made me feel better. When I felt strong again, I decided to explore the whole island. I found a new valley where I saw some tobacco plants, among other unknown ones. The next day, I found melons and grapes. I dried the grapes and I had raisins. There were also apple, orange, and lemon trees on the island, which I didn't notice before. I made a pile of the fruits that I gathered, and I returned to my cave to get a bag for them. When I returned, I found the fruits destroyed. Some were eaten, some were stepped upon. I concluded from this that there are some wild animals around. Still, I liked that food valley, and I began thinking about moving there. Then I remembered that the beach was far away from that valley, and I wouldn't see if any ship passed by. Instead of moving to the fruit valley, I decided to build another house there, which I would visit from time to time. I made a small house, and then I surrounded it with a double fence. The house was protected like a castle. Again, I used a ladder to go in and out, but I also had stairs on the inside of the fence. I used the stairs on the inside, and I used a ladder on the outside. This activity took me the whole of August and the beginning of September, but I enjoyed it a lot. The fruit valley gave me so much energy. I felt so healthy and strong there. Sometimes, when I was in the valley at night, I watched the moon and the stars. I thought about my wife. I thought about my family in England. I knew they could see the same moon. They could see the same stars, but we couldn't be together. I thought about my family very often. I wished the best for them. I also thought about all the people who could see the moon. I imagined the places where they lived. I felt connected with them. Sometimes I felt connected with the whole universe. I also thought about God. I had questions for God. I asked him, why am I on this island? What is the reason for it? Why am I still alive when my friends are dead? I didn't have answers to many of these questions, but I trusted God. I believed he knew what he was doing. Then the rainy season started, which continued until the middle of October. This was my first year on the island. After the rains ended, I returned to my valley house to find the branches in the fence all green, with new leaves growing all over them. This wasn't only beautiful, but also useful to me, because soon my house was covered entirely and was hardly visible. The leaves kept shadow over it, and it was very pleasant to stay in there during the dry season. I liked it so much that I decided to make a fence from the same branches around my first house as well. With the end of the rainy season, I thought it was the right time to put my seed into the ground. I was cautious, so I only used a half of the seeds. This was a good idea, because none of these seeds came up. I put the rest of the seeds in the ground just before the next rainy season, and they came up all right. Now, I had a little farm on the island. This experience made me notice that there were 2 rainy and 2 dry seasons on the island. With this in mind, I could now plan when to put seeds into the ground. Thank you for watching. This is the end of part 7. To be continued in part 8. If you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe. See you then.